Maternity leave is a period of absence from work granted to a mother before and after the birth of her child. Maternity leave is the right for female workers to require up to 12 months leave on patriation. We have to bear in mind that maternity and pregnancy are protected characteristics for discrimination law purposes. That is why the employer cannot simply terminate the services of a female employee during the maternity leave except for any valid reason such as bankruptcy or company termination. The postpartum period cannot begin as early as 30 days before the delivery or the day after the childbirth unless it's been proved by medical officer. Women workers who fail to refuse treatment are considered essential for their pregnancy will be denied eligibility for the maternity leave. Maternity leave is the right of a female employee and period is not more than 60 consecutive days. According to the Section 37B of the Employment Act 1955, the maternity leave should not be later than the next day after a woman employs maternity or confinement. 60 consecutive days that were given is including rest days, sick leave, public holidays and more. If there is a public holiday when the maternity leave is taken, then there is no replacement or additional leave for the employee.
Types of maternity leave by jobs in public sector. The qualification and the practices rules of maternity leave has been set like the first one. The qualification rate of full paid maternity leave is as much as 360 days throughout one's public officer service period. The maximum of each birth of the maternity leave is 19 days. Even so, the public officers are to given the flexibility to decide the maternity leave period that are in between of 60 to 90 days of each birth on their own. Maternity leave started at the beginning of their labor date. However, the public officer can decide to use their maternity leave earlier than their labor date, which is any day in 40 days period for the expected labor date. Public officer who has full paid maternity leave that less than 60 days must take maternity leave between 60 to 90 days with these practices, which is, for public officers that is not a teacher, they must utilize their full paid maternity leave, and if it is not enough, their annual leave will be used, and if that's still not enough, unpaid maternity leave will be used instead. For teachers on school terms, they must use all their full paid maternity leave. If that was not enough, half paid maternity leave up until 14 days will be used, and if that was still not enough, unpaid maternity leave will be used instead. On school break, they must utilize all of their full paid maternity leave, and for the remaining days, it will consider in full. The officer that has used a maximum eligibility of 360 days of paid maternity leave, they must take a maternity leave between 60 to 90 days with these practices. For the public officers that are not a teacher, they must use their holidays since the start of their maternity date, and if still not enough, unpaid maternity leave will be used instead. For teachers on school terms, they are to utilize their half-paid maternity leave until 14 days, and if it's not enough, unpaid maternity leave will be used instead. And on school break, it is considered as a full-paid maternity leave.
Before applying the maternity leave, there are a few steps and processes that must be followed by the employees based on general order. Step and process is so important before applying the maternity leave. This is to make sure that the employee receives a benefit while on her maternity leave. Also, it is so essential for mental health of the woman, especially for the first gave birth. Firstly, the employee or the woman must notify the employer about her pregnancy to make sure she receives all the maternity benefits in the general order, especially for the public sector worker. The employee at least must inform their pregnancy 4 months before the due date. Next, send a formal application form. It is to notify the manager about how long she would take a maternity leave. This must be followed by supporting documents from the hospital or clinic to confirm the expected delivery date. This is to make it easier for senior manager to approve the maternity leave. And then, after sending an application form and supporting documents, it will be processed to make sure that the benefit that they, aka employee, will receive. Basically, the full paid maternity leave is 316 days over the duration of the service. The maximum of maternity leave for public sector that can be applied is 90 days. However, workers are given the options to take maternity leave of 60 to 90 days. Maternity leave will be calculated from the day the child is born, but also the employee was given an option to use her maternity leave before the date of birth, which is 14 days before the expected due date. So, in the conclusion, the public sector workers should receive the benefit of the maternity leave. The organisation must follow every step and process, and also the qualification that written in general order. The head of department shall ensure that the maternity leave of employee was recorded.
Maternity leave have many benefits. Firstly, getting enough rest for the recovery process. The postpartum period is a particularly difficult period for women, especially for those who have been through the birth process through surgery. Not only does it involve physical pain, but it also involves aspects of emotional change. Secondly, strengthen mother-son relationship. Long maternity leave can provide more intimate relationship between mother and child. During this holiday, the mother only needs to pay attention to the baby. Thirdly, it's important of husband support. Husband support is really important because that can help to reduce and relieve our stress or pressure that a wife faces. Fourthly, it prioritizes of mental health. Some new mothers are at a rise for psychological issues such as post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and postpartum psychosis. Taking care of yourself by prioritizing self-care during the maternity leave can reduce the likelihood of feeling overwhelmed by the stresses associated with your new role. Taking care of your own mental health needs should be a significant part of the transition back to the work. Lastly, it improves worker retention. Maternity leave is not only for the benefits of the employee, but it also brings to the business. Offering paid leave can result at a higher productivity, higher employees, morale, and longer-term cost savings for companies, as well as attracting and retaining quality staff. It also can save business because of reduced employees to turnover and cost savings.
Now move on to the disadvantages of maternity leave. There are three disadvantages of maternity leave. One of them is the public servant late or forgot to inform their officer that she is pregnant. As usual, public personnel need to find new recruit, whether internal or external recruitment, to fill up the available position for that work. New recruitment is not easy to find. This issue will make the public personnel rush to find the temporary replacement staff for that position. This problem will affect many things such as not getting the suitable staff, like lack of experience, knowledge and skill. Next, performance for that employee will be affected. According to general order, an officer can choose the numbers of days for her maternity leave within the period of 60 to 90 days for each birth, and it is limited to 300 days throughout the period of the officer's service. This period is very long that will make the changes for their key performance indicator KPI. Lastly, but importantly, the public servant lack awareness about the maternity benefits given by the government, which is a child care center. The government provides such benefit to ease the burden that they bear, but this benefit receives no response and encouragement from them. They do not use it wisely. According to the Director Harian 2018, this benefit can encourage female to work. This is clearly that maternity leave is very important for them. This benefit is different from the child care center that is under the private sector, because the center takes higher cost than the benefit that is offered from the government.
So, as a conclusion, maternity leave should be implemented to improve women's productivity and health as soon as they return to work. It will also give benefit to women's health and family well-being, especially among newborn mothers. From this leave, women can focus entirely on the baby, including providing exclusive breastfeeding as well as ensuring maternal health before starting work and stress-free. Maternity leave is not a bonus holiday for what most individuals thought. The society need to change their stereotype about this. With this maternity leave, depression issue that can turn into serious situations like postpartum depression, PPD, can also be avoided. Pregnant women need more space and time to adapt to the new environment while giving the body time to fully recover from the trauma and the pain of childbirth. That is why the maternity leave is such an important thing for both public and private sector. Thank you.